In light of the recent Ukraine-Russian tensions, let's understand the geography of Ukraine. To understand why this region has become so significant lies in the geography of this region. Recently, Russia has been witnessing severe inflation and Ukraine is one of the richest soils of the world. Now, how this whole geopolitical issue becomes important, we would understand in this lecture. To begin with, let's understand the political scenario here. So, the former Soviet Union, if we focus on to the map here, we would have Russia as one of the nations which is part of it. Ukraine is definitely, I'll just write the initials for each of the countries. So, this is Ukraine. You have Belarus, Moldova. So these are the nations which separated from former Soviet Union. Then Ukraine, the region, the boundary of Ukraine, as you can see, also touches with the nations of European Union. And what are those nations? Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, and then you have Romania. So 4 nations which are adjacent to Ukraine, which belong to European Union. Now, since ancient days, Ukraine has been one of the major centers. Why? We'll understand that. On to the west, as you can see this line, I'll zoom this map later to have a deeper insight into the actual phenomena that we are trying to discuss here. But if we look onto the map here, this is the Carpathian range or the mountain range which runs towards the west Ukraine side. Now, the western portion of most of the Europe is separated through the Carpathian mountains. Only Poland is the area through which actual movement of people was possible. And therefore, from Europe to Russia, all of the previous invasions that took place through the land route were from this narrow stretch, which was also known as the Polish funnel. So this Polish funnel, which is the region in Poland, the capital Warsaw, is the area through which invasions started. Few of the major ones to name: Napoleon, Hitler invaded the territories from this region. Now, if we talk about the present day Russia has few important mountain ranges on either side. Towards the west is the Carpathian mountains, as you can see. Towards the southern section, you have the Caucasus mountains, and towards the southeast you have Tian Shan mountain range, and in the north you have the Siberia, which is the colder part. Now again, there are few important ocean areas which are connected here. So if we focus on to this map, let me zoom it a little. Now this is the region of Ukraine. Okay, I'll just remove the mountain ranges so that it becomes much more clear. Now this region of Ukraine has interestingly divided itself through this river, which is lifeline of Ukraine, and it is known as Dnieper River. Now this Dnieper River has a great economic significance. The regions towards the east of Dnieper River, predominantly the southeast area, is an extensively rich agricultural belt. Overlapping to this agricultural belt in Ukraine is another belt, which is the industrial belt, again lying towards the east of Dnieper River, predominantly towards the east of Dnieper River. So this is the industrial belt. So as you can see, the agricultural belt and the industrial belt overlap in this region. Again, what is important in this region is Ukraine's proximity to oceans or proximity to major sea. So what are the major sea? As you can see, it has its boundary with Black Sea. Crimea is the disputed territory, and then again east of Crimea, the boundary of Ukraine has an adjacent boundary to Sea of Azov. Now both of them are again one of the reasons which make this region very strategically important. So boundary with the Black Sea and boundary with Sea of Azov. However, we do have Caspian Sea here, and this is again an important region for Russian territory here. Now, as I said, there are few important towns which are located. So let me just bring those towns and we would have deeper insight into the present scenario. So here we have the locations as you can see. So Kyiv is the capital of Ukraine. Then the two areas which are Donetsk and Luhansk are the areas towards the east of Ukraine. Now these are the areas which have been under disturbance as of now, and it is believed that these areas are, as I mentioned, among the most fertile belts. So there can be two ways in which the military expansion can actually proceed. So either it is through the Donetsk and the Luhansk region towards the region up to Kherson, and this is the region east of Dnieper river. So the region east of Dnieper. However, if there is a possibility to cross the Dnieper, then there can be a whole region which encompasses the territory up to Moldova, and this also takes into account its access to Black Sea, which is again strategically important. So Odisha is the town which is located on the west of Dnieper, Kherson on the Dnieper, so it's closer to the it's on the western side of the Dnieper. So those are the important towns that we must consider here. As I said, agriculture is the bread and butter for the people in this region. Now agriculture in this region is due to the excellent soil. It is believed that US is one of the largest grain exporters, and Ukraine is among the next few nations. So Ukraine's grain export is again important. The most important thing here is the people here cannot actually buy or sell land. So as per the treaty which was done, the people when Ukraine separated itself, was independent after the Soviet Union, the commune system ended, and the people, the villagers, hold the land. So it's around 1 to 7 hectares of land that people have, but they don't have the right to either buy land or sell land. Only thing they can do is lease the land to private companies. So the private companies lease the land, and this lease is for huge land parcels. So around 500 to 700 hectares of land is leased. But again, one of the major issues here is the weak banking system in Ukraine, because of which you have lots and lots of issues with regards to the interest rate. So interest rate is up to 25% in regions in Ukraine, and that's because of the weak banking system. Now huge interest rate is one of the reasons that people prefer to have land in probably the European regions, and also the acquisition of land where it becomes more simpler. So as we said, here there is no concept of buying and selling the land can only be leased, and private companies actually have the lease for the land. But even if you are a private company trying to get a land now, probably the only land you would find is the abandoned or the deserted land, because most of the fertile area is already leased. This region is exceptionally good again in dairy production. 25 liters per day per cattle is the production which is seen, and still it has a scope for huge growth in dairy industry. Soft cheese, cottage cheese, yogurt are some of the products which are already done there, and then there are scope for more developments in this region. So as we said, the lifeline of this region is the Dnieper river that flows through this region. Agriculture and industrial sector coexist and overlap to a huge extent in Ukraine, and therefore this has become one of the major reasons why this land is one of the most precious lands among the whole of Ukraine territory. So that was a brief glimpse about the geography of Ukraine, the importance of Ukraine. We will be covering many important sessions. Stay tuned. Have a wonderful day ahead.